Despite some military losses in the Middle East, ISIS is developing a worldwide terrorist network, and now it's active in at least 18 countries.
And as ISIS gets stronger, one top intelligence official is warning that the United States and the world are now facing more terrorist threats than any time since 9/11. George Thomas has the story.
The president says while ISIS has been losing land in Iraq and Syria, the group is working on inspiring and launching terrorist attacks around the world.
In fact, the decline of ISIL in Syria and Iraq appears to be causing it to shift to tactics that we've seen before, an even greater emphasis on encouraging high-profile terrorist attacks.
And part of that shift is to target Europe. German-born Harry Sarfo, a former ISIS fighter now in prison, told the New York Times that the terror group is instructing European jihadis not to come to Syria anymore, but instead stay home and launch waves of attacks in Britain, Germany and France.
Even as we need to crush ISIL on the battlefield, their military defeat will not be enough. So long as their twisted ideology persists and drives people to violence, then groups like ISIL will keep emerging.
And it appears ISIS attacks are getting deadlier, more destructive, and more frequent. A new report from the House Homeland Security Committee found that since 2014, there have been 1,600 plus casualties from ISIS-related attacks against the West, the majority of them carried out by independent followers.
As we've seen, it is still very difficult to detect and prevent lone actors or small cells of terrorists who are determined to kill the innocent and are willing to die.
ISIS claimed responsibility for a number of mass killings recently, including a truck attack in Nice, France, that left 84 dead, and the nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, that killed 49 people. Terror experts say these and other attacks show that their long-held goal to spread beyond Syria and Iraq is becoming a reality. More than 2 years after U.S. and coalition forces started military operations against ISIS, the threat from the radical Islamic group is expanding throughout the world. NBC News obtained a map from the president's own National Counterterrorism Center showing ISIS branches now operating in 18 other countries, leading the center's director to make this stark assessment. The array of terrorist actors around the globe is broader, wider and deeper than it has ever been at any time since September 11, 2001. It is fair to say that we face more threats originating in more places and involving more individuals than we have at any time in the past 15 years. George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, it looks like the JV team, how it used to be described, has gone varsity. And I think a lot of this is to our own policy, that we underestimated the threat. We underestimated or didn't even know that when someone declares, I'm the caliph and I am of the family of Muhammad, you owe your allegiance to me. If you're a dedicated Muslim, you have to obey what I tell you to do. By underestimating that and not taking care of it quickly, it actually allowed it to grow and allowed the ideology to get cemented in that you owe your allegiance to ISIS. And there was even a prediction ISIS can lose battles, ISIS can lose major conflicts, but somehow or other Allah is going to raise it back up again. So at this point in time, if you go in with strong military force, which seems to be what we're doing now, and try to wipe them out, it's just going to embolden the followers who are now worldwide. It's a failure of our understanding of the threat we were facing. And we need to get that understanding. What exactly is in the Quran that inspires this kind of violence? Why do people think that if you cut off the head of an infidel, somehow that's a ticket to heaven? What are these various thought patterns? And if we don't identify it for what it is, and right now you can't even say radical Islam, you can't even link the two. We've got to get open and we've got to get honest about the threat that we're dealing with.